Hi everyone, Squee here. So, this is gonna act as a notice that I will not be continuing Dark Souls 2. The last episode you saw will be the last episode you see of Dark Souls 2. And a bit of an explanation as to why. Now, before we get started, first things first, it's not really the difficulty per se of the actual game mechanics. Look, I am more than willing to fess up that I wasn't much good at the game. And, you know, there's probably a lot of people out there that were better at this game the first time they played it than I was. And that's fine. That's fantastic. It wasn't really what stopped me. A lot of you who have seen a lot of my Let's Plays know that I don't shy away from a challenge typically. I've played lots of games on the hardest difficulty, died over and over again, and loved every second of it. Just watch my Halo Let's Play if you want to see something like that. I sucked at that game, but I beat it, and I loved every second of it, despite how difficult it was. And this was completely different. I died a lot. I wasn't good at the game, but that's not necessarily why I disliked it. So let me go ahead and get into that. And before anyone suggests that I am not saying that Dark Souls 2 is in and of itself a bad game. It's a well-made game, a well-designed game, and it does a great job doing what I think it was designed to do. It's just not the kind of game I enjoy, and I personally don't like the game at all. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let me explain why. The first one, and I'll go in order from least to greatest. The first one is that the game was difficult in a way that I don't enjoy. Difficult in and of itself is not a bad thing for me. I don't mind dying over and over and trying things over and over. The problem is that I died a lot. Here's how Dark Souls 2 went for me, especially with boss fights. Die about 10 times before I even figure out what I'm supposed to do to kill it. Then die about 20 times trying to actually get good enough to do what I'm supposed to do to kill it. And that's on a good day. That starts to get to the level of frustrating for me. When a boss can 1 or 2 hit kill you, you know, it's hard to say because that in and of itself would not turn me off from a game, but it certainly adds to the frustration of everything else. So I will say that, yeah, I mean, the amount of damage you took in the game was a lot. And while that would not have been enough to make me stop the game, it did add to my frustration of the game because it made me feel like I was supposed to try 100 different things, die 100 times, then find the right way, and then get good enough to do it. And while every game tends to follow this mechanic, Dark Souls 2 was a bit harsh. Now this one, I completely own up that might just be that I suck at the game. So let me make this very, very clear. I am not suggesting the game is too hard in that case. I am suggesting that my skill level was not good enough to match what the game was expecting from me. In that case, it's not a mark against the game, it's a mark against me, and I will fully own up to that. The other problems, however, to me, is a mark against the game. And that is that two big reasons. One, I felt like I wasted a lot of time because I wanted to make a dual-wielding character. When I found out that I could create a class that was built around wielding 2 weapons, that's what I wanted to do, because it seemed cool. I liked that. I didn't want to use a shield. I didn't want to use a long spear or a big broadsword. I wanted to do 2 weapons and run around like Drizzt Do'Urden, because that's just what I wanted to do. And I spent a lot of time and effort building my character to do just that. I didn't worry about strength as much for shields and stamina. I worried about dodging. I worried about swords. I worried about dexterity. And I found in experience, and later after I stopped playing, I actually went on a lot of websites and researched this game and what people experience with it because I felt like I was missing something, and I really was. I found out that dual wielding is incredibly difficult to pull off in this game. In other words, if playing the game with a shield is like playing on normal, dual wielding is like playing on hard or even insanity, you know, level, like the highest level, because the ability to block in this game is paramount. And if all you can do is dodge, you can beat this game, but you've got to be really good at it. And I felt like I was cheated because none of that was ever explained to me. I felt like I wasted time building a character that wasn't really a viable character for me to play. I don't require that all games have every class be perfectly balanced. It's fine if certain classes are harder than others, if certain builds are harder than others. But when there's such a huge disparity in the balance, a perfect example is anytime anyone gave me advice, it almost always started like this. There's a shield, ... It's obvious that this game is easier when you use a shield, much easier, or at least one weapon that you can block with. And none of this was explained by the game. If the game had told me, look, you can dual wield, my friend, but you better be godly at this game, I wouldn't have a big gripe. But instead, since none of that was ever explained to me by the game, I felt like I wasted time, effort, and souls making a character that I was not prepared to play. And since none of this was explained to me, I felt incredibly cheated. I don't like games that present you options like they're perfectly viable and they turn out to not be. Or at least if they're viable, they are insanely hard to pull off. That's not how a game should operate. If you're going to give me those options and say, look, you can do this and you can do that and you can make a mage and you can make an archer and you can make dual wielding, it's all for you. It's your buffet. Take what you want. They should all be workable for a new player. Or it should tell you, if you're new, stay the hell away from this one. It never does that. It doesn't do that at all. And I know that some of you might be saying, well, Squee, we tried to tell you. And that gets to my biggest problem with this game. And that is that this game is built around metagaming. It expects you to metagame. There is no manual included with this game. There is a very limited tutorial that explains an ounce of what you need to know, and nothing else is explained to you in this game. The power stance, which is the one thing that makes dual wielding somewhat viable, which is really cool, I like it, was never mentioned in this game, period. I had to have other people tell me how to do it, or I never would have known it was even a thing, because the qualifications to enter power stance are something that you just wouldn't normally think of. And no tutorial, no in-game menu, no manual, no nothing told me. And this isn't just an issue on certain things here and there. It's rampant in this game. Items don't tell you what they do. You pick them up and you have no clue what they do. You kind of just have to know, or look it up, or ask someone, or try 50 of them until you find out, oh, it does this. It doesn't tell you a lot of the mechanics that you need to know, that you don't. And the reason for this is because this game is designed to be played communally. They expect you to get help. They expect you to look things up. They expect you to ask other people. In fact, a lot of people told me, here's how you play this game, Squee. Summon someone into your level and watch how they beat the boss. What? Why? What? How is that any different than just watching a playthrough on YouTube? The game never explains how summoning even works, or how getting called to another person's realm even works, or how PvP works. None of this is explained to you. You just are thrown in there. There's a difference between hand-holding and not giving you the information you need to know to be able to play a game well. This game is so far across that line, it's insane. And the reason is because it expects you to do the research on your own. It expects you to ask other people. They made a game so difficult that they expected the community to come together and, as a community, teach each other how to beat this game. While that is not a bad thing in and of itself. For example, like I said at the start of this, I don't think it's a bad game as far as its design. It was designed to be this hard and for the community to come together and teach each other how to beat it. And for that purpose, it does it really well. But that's not what I'm looking for when I play a game. When I started this Let's Play and I told everyone I want no help, no advice, no nothing, there was a huge outcry from you guys, from viewers and chatters. Not rudely. You guys were very polite about it, but you were like, Squee, no, we need to tell you. There's things you need to know. Because the society of this game expects you to have help. And I was going against the very concept people have when they play this game, which is get help, learn how to do it. Don't try and do it on your own. I'm not suggesting you can't. I'm sure there are people who have played this game without ever looking up a single manual, but you can't tell me that you did that and had an easy time of it. Unless you're a video game prodigy, I won't believe it, because this game, it doesn't explain anything to you. I know there's people out there that say, no, you don't have to metagame. First of all, you do have to metagame, period. You have to metagame. And metagame means not role-playing, using outside information to beat this game. Whether it's outside information you picked up through the game, or, you know what I mean, or not, it's stuff that your character wouldn't know that you do need to know. But it is possible to beat this game without using help or friends or online or anything like that. I'm not suggesting it's not. I'm suggesting that if you don't do that, it then becomes so difficult that it's just not fun or entertaining or even challenging. It's just frustrating. And some people like that. More people that play this game like the idea of coming together as a community and figuring out how to beat stuff. And that's fine. That's great. But that's not what I look for when I play a game. I want to be able to beat it on my own. And this game, to beat on your own without any help whatsoever, without any sort of metagaming whatsoever, is just not fun. It's frustrating. And so I'm not going to play it. I've even seen people who told me, no, you don't have to metagame at all in this game. Now you just go to this monster over here and you go to this little section and you shoot it in the tail a bunch of times and that's how you kill it. Dude, that's metagaming. That's who would know to do that? Who would know to go to this one place and fight this boss one very specific way? That's metagaming. Anyway, I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to crap on this game. I don't like it. I do not like this game at all. I really don't. That does not mean it is a bad game. I can separate my personal taste for a game with how well constructed a game may be. And there's so many things about this game I just didn't like. The game seems to be designed around fighting one-on-one. Your lock-on system, your camera, everything seems to be designed around confronting people one-on-one, because if you lock onto one person, you can't see around you, other people around you. I had so many issues where I would get hit from the side or off screen because in order to deal with the person in front of me, I couldn't see the people behind me. And while you might say that's challenging, I say it's cheap, and most people would agree with me. So this game was not well designed around mobs, and you fought mobs all the time. Bosses or bad guys, their attacks would track you almost all the way around in a circle when it was completely unnecessary for it to do so. I was trying to beat this game by rolling, dodging. That was my only key to get out of this game. And the timing had to be so insanely precise, because if they start an attack and you roll, that attack will track you to the very last second, which means your roll now becomes useless. You had to wait until the split second before the attack hits to roll. And if you don't, half your health is gone or more. These are just things I didn't really like in the game. I thought it was a cheap way to make it harder. Anyway, now I'm just starting to rant. The main point is that this game is designed around metagaming, and that's not really what I look for when I look for a game. Not to mention it had no story whatsoever, really. At least as far as I had gotten, there was no story. There was lore, sure, there was plenty of lore, that's fantastic, but there was no plot. There was no story. I don't even know why I was doing what I was doing. And the game starts off by telling you, you don't know why you're going to do what you do. Anyway, the conclusion is I will not be playing this game any further, because this game does not have anything that appeals to me enough to make me want to play it. You know, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry if that disappoints you, but the truth of the matter is, to continue doing an entire Let's Play of a game that I don't enjoy is wrong. I'd much rather, and I'm sure you would much rather, I go on to a game I do enjoy. So that's it. You're more than welcome to leave comments. I will try to ask questions. I'll try and answer them the best I can. You're welcome to debate with me too. That's fantastic. I'm open to having my mind changed. The one thing I do ask is that you don't get on here and say, "No, I beat this game all by myself. It was easy. This is the easiest game in the world." Don't do that. Look, I'm glad you have a giant E penis. I'll help you hold it later if you need someone to. But please, not here. Alright, so everyone, I'm sorry if this disappointed you, but I gave it a best try. So many of you wanted me to play this game, so I tried, and really, it just wasn't for me. So yeah, there you go, and I will see you guys in many other Let's Plays, so take care.